Good evening. We're back in Studio A, which, by the way, is the same as Studio B and Studio C. Uh, I don't want to bore you to death with on and on and on with this stuff. More than likely, you're a little tired of watching, or maybe you aren't. I don't know. But anyhow, it all comes down to one specific thing. Somebody else did the surgery. Excuse me. And nobody wants to touch it. And that's why it's your back, it's your this, it's your that. The only thing that they haven't discussed is moldy belly button lint. That's a low one, but that's what they're doing as far as to get around. Well, it might be this, it might be that, and everything else. So finally, I get to a orthopedist, and he admitted that it was beyond his expertise. And what he decided to do, he said, I can refer you to someone who was trained at a special hospital, residency and everything, and he should be able to do something for you. It's interesting. So it sounds like we might get somewhere at this particular point. I don't have high expectations, and personally, I was not disappointed with the outcome of it. But we'll delve into it just a little bit to see what the outcome of it was. Uh, I went to see the orthopedist. I gave him all sorts of records, and he went through this, that, and everything else. But I have so much in the way of files and everything else that it's impossible to expect somebody to sit down and spend 3 or 4 hours on the thing looking through the highs and the lows and everything to determine what's going on. So what they do, they just go in and pick a couple things. Oh, this looks good, that looks good, and everything like that. And then we come back, and the appointment was a real winner. I mean a winner, but it's spelled wiener. Uh, he decides that, oh, Dr. So and so wanted you to see a neurologist. The only thing was that was like 6 years ago before this appointment. And we went back and forth on that a little bit. I said, well, I went to the neurologist and everything. I said, but there's one thing that Dr. X obviously missed: the blood clot. We had discussed that in a prior video. And that sort of put the crimps to the appointment. But at that moment, he decided that I had foot and ankle problems, which was laughable, which means get lost, I don't want to see you, whatever, however fancy they want to put it. But that was the end of that. And it wasn't the end of the journey, but every time that I got some place that seemed like it was going to work, it stopped. The other one of mention is I was referred to yet another orthopedic surgeon. And at this point, you can mention a name and I can tell you what practice they're with. That's how many I've seen, and that's how many I've been turned down by. So we go see another one, go back and forth on it. He says, oh, you have foot and ankle problems. Oh, my heavens. So I go and make an appointment with a podiatrist, just for the heck of it, to satisfy their curiosity and they're stab in the dark. So I go and I make an appointment with a local podiatrist. It's just a couple miles from where I live. If you happen to see the video, hi. Uh, but I go to him. He does x-rays and stuff. He says, it's not your foot and ankles. He says, it's your knees. So I go back to see the orthopedic guy who referred me, who told me that I needed to see a podiatrist. And that wasn't good enough for him because I have to see a podiatrist within his practice now. Interesting. So I make an appointment. Now the interesting part of this, it's a rather large practice. It's on the edge of my network, I would say. It might even be out of it. But anyhow, I make an appointment. I said, I want the first available appointment. And it's only 92 miles from my house. Nice ride. I get there, have to wait a little bit, we fiddle around, and finally we get in there, and he starts going on about this and that and this and that, and I looked at him and he says, are you telling me that I've had unnecessary surgeries? Oh, no, I'm not trying to say that, but I don't know what he was inferring. He just went around in circles. It was, he said I got a little defensive. I wonder why. So he walked out. Boom, that was the end of that. Back home, dead in the water. Well, not really dead in the water. We just take another approach to it. So at that particular point, I think we probably eliminated the foot and ankle thing. But we're running out of things to blame it on. And what it comes down to, as the pain management people and the neurologist and the neurosurgeon and everything, it all comes back to the knees. And when they think about that, they gag. They don't know what to do because they don't want to touch it. And we've run out of things to blame it on. As far as of this particular moment, I've had almost every test known to man as far as in the way of orthopedics, the bone scans, the arterial scans, and all that other stuff. And they're at a wit's end as far as what to tell me. That's what it comes down to. So the only thing that we could do yet, it wouldn't do any good. I haven't had a spinal tap. I think that would be fun. Maybe it wouldn't be. I don't know. But also I haven't had an electroencephalograph to see if anybody's home. Now, I think maybe sooner or later they might decide to do that. Maybe not. I don't know. But I just find it relatively amusing, quite painful and everything else. But up to this particular point, at this part of the conversation, I would just say that on the low side of what has been spent relative to my orthopedic condition is probably around $400,000. I say that simply because the one operation was $120,000, and there was an additional, it was over $100,000 that the hospital wanted to bill, but the insurance wouldn't pay for it. I thought that was nice. So that's what's going. We just throw money around like it's going out of style, trying to blame something else for what's wrong. But sooner or later, it will come out. But as I've stated before, I believe, they're trying to run out the clock. Now, anybody knows what that means. And right now, they're not doing a good job of it. I feel pretty good. This is keeping me going. I just hope it's frustrating some of the orthopedic surgeons I've seen, but they sleep well at night. I don't, but they do. So we'll see what happens. Well, we'll come in on another one a little later. Good night.